So now that we have our part installed into the Cura software, what you're first going to want to do is go over to this menu on the right-hand side and go to the very top where it says Hicktop 3D. Click on that. This is where you select your printer. Go to the Prusa i3 printer. So this is the printer that we're going to be using for this tutorial. The Hicktop is our big blue printer. The Prusas are the little orange ones. Next, after you've selected that, you'll notice that the build plate over here changed to match the size of the Prusa. So now that that's changed, we're going to make sure that we're using the correct material that's currently loaded in the Prusa. And currently we have Prusa's own engine filament loaded in the printer and not PLA. So what we're going to want to do is come here and go to Custom, Custom Material Engine, Prusa Engine. Now we have the correct material in the printer. Next, we're going to go to the print settings and go to layer height. Layer height is like the resolution of the print that you're making. So 0.06 is a very fine, smooth surface, but it takes a lot of time to print, almost an entire day for large prints. Whereas 0.6 is much faster. It could print within an hour or a half hour, but it's going to be very rough and bumpy, and honestly, it might actually not even print well. I like using 0.15 because it's right there in the middle. It takes an hour, maybe 2 or 3 hours to print, but it comes out pretty smooth and pretty nice. Also next is infill. Infill is the amount of material that we're putting inside our part. So you can do 0% infill, where it's just a shell. You can do 50 or 100. And notice that this little box over here changes to represent how much material we're putting inside of our part. You really don't need a lot of material to make a strong part inside of it because it's in a checkered box grid. So we're using 20%. Next, you'll go to Generate Supports. Because our material has an overhang, we can do one of two things. We can either select Generate Supports, which will then fill this area in with removable material that you'll remove after your print to help print this overhanging section. Or what we can do is, with the material selected like this, we can come over to the left side, and in this menu, we have options to reorient our part to maybe print better and faster. So we have Move, which lets you move your part around. So I could put over here in the top of the build plate, and I could copy my part and put another one over here in the other side next to it to print two. You have Scale. Scale lets me make it larger or smaller. So with Scale, I can do 150% and it makes it a lot bigger. For this tutorial, we're doing 100% scale. So don't really worry about scaling. Next, you're going to want to rotate it. We're going to want to select the red line and rotate 90 degrees to the right so that we no longer have a highlighted red section that indicates an overhang. That way, this will print faster and use less material. Next, you're going to click Build Plate Adhesion. If you don't have build plate adhesion selected, then your part has the capability to come dislodged from the bed and move around the build plate. This will waste a lot of hours of your time and material. So just make sure that you have build plate adhesion selected. Since we've oriented our part in this direction, we don't really need Generate Support, and you can deselect it. Once you have all of these settings selected and prepped, click Prepare down here in the bottom right corner, and that will prepare your part and give you a timeline of how long it will take to print. Then we'll move on to the next step.